Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your January love reading. I've already pulled the cards so we can jump right into your reading. The overall energy of your romantic or love life right now is authority. This card can talk about the person that you are thinking about, that you may be in a relationship with now, or it could be coming into your life. But this card also talks about society, family, religious beliefs around love. And a lot of times, this card can also kind of talk about your father, your father's point of view about love or something. And, it's not a very loving feeling, is it? He has his arms crossed, he's looking very stern. It's kind of like, it's my way or the highway type of energy. So I don't think this is you. I feel like this is somebody that you're either in a relationship with or somebody in your environment that is affecting your relationship or your love life. So let's see what else you have. Discontent and boredom. Okay, we'll look at this a little bit closer, but I kind of have a feeling that this may be you, that you're kind of in a situation where you may feel a little bit of discontent or boredom, and it might be because you're not seeing eye to eye with this other person, whoever this is. And finally, you have suffering in silence. I really have a feeling that this is probably you. I think that the energies from these two cards are definitely you. I think you're not happy about something that's occurring in your relationship, or if you're single right now, about, how maybe religious, society, family beliefs around love and about, like who you should be with, that type of energy. So let's go ahead and look at what else you have. So this is your past position. So we'll look at that first. Okay, so you have the to be fair, which is a lot like the Justice card. So this is, wanting balance, that type of energy. You also have the Fool, which kind of represents new beginnings, going out on your own, and the Judgment call. Okay, so with these three cards, these are all like major arcana energies. This is definitely a relationship. I feel like you're in a relationship, or you may be separated from somebody, but there's definitely, this is kind of like a spiritual awakening. Like you have become more conscious and aware. And since this is a love reading, it's more of a conscious awareness about having balance in love. Or this could also talk about balance in society. And, because of this awareness and the Fool card in particular, I feel like you're trying to, trumpet your new knowledge or awareness. It's kind of interesting. We have the three trumpets there. And, look at, I just noticed this. All three of these figures are looking to the Justice, right? And I think you've gotten this new awareness or consciousness about how love relationships should be balanced, or how there should be equality in love relationships. Or it could be that you just feel like there needs to be more equality in the world. If any of that resonates with you. And look at, like she's the scales, and then she has an owl on top of her head, which is a symbol of wisdom. And I have this feeling that you've really come into a lot of new learning, awareness, wisdom through some type of a spiritual awakening. And you're trying to maybe convince other people that, that you have this new insight. You may be trying to teach others about it. And the problem is that, you're running up against this. And once again, this could be, in your family. It could be the person that you're dealing with. You could have maybe had a spiritual awakening, while you've been with this person may have even triggered your spiritual awakening. And you're trying to, trumpet the call to this person that there needs to be more equality, either in your relationship or in the roles that you play in your relationship. Or you may be even saying, we need to go do something about the unfairness in the world. I just got that, like you may really want to go out, and especially with the Fool card, that's kind of like an adventure card, right? You're going to go out, you don't care what the risks are. You kind of have that. And you may be thinking, let's go together. Let's go together on this adventure. And it could be that you just you want to be with other people that have this new awakening, that you want to work with others. I kind of get, that Three of Pentacles feeling, wanting to work with others to help transform something, to make something more just. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, this is your present position. So in the present position, you have the storyteller. This card really kind of indicates that you have the pen. You can write the story of your life. And I think it's kind of interesting because if you look, it's not at the beginning of the book. If you look, there's a lot of pages back here. But the page that is recently turned, is a new page. And I have a feeling that, you turned the page, you turned your thinking about something when you had the spiritual awakening. It could also be that, here we are at the beginning of a new year and you've turned the page and it's kind of like, I want to rewrite the story. To me, this is like, I don't want to continue the same story. I want to do something new. And it could be that, you want to go on a new adventure, a new career. I'm even getting, you may want to be moving somewhere with the Fool card, like let's move somewhere. And it could be you want to go by yourself or you may want to go with this other person. But either way, it's like, I want to start. It's kind of like, I want a fresh start. I want to do something different. And with this, this is the Knight of Swords. And that, can be like a competitive type feeling, but definitely like, I know what I want and I want to go get it, right? And this is the Empress card. So this is a card of creativity, of nurturing. It can even represent, being a mother, that type of thing. You could be in a relationship and you're wanting to take it to the next level. Or say you're married and you want to have children, that type of thing. But you're definitely ready for something new. Like I feel like you've kind of previously finished a cycle of some sort. And you have all this new knowledge and like inspiration within you. And you're like, wow, I really want to go do this. And you're kind of coming up against resistance. And you may, up to this point, probably kind of have maybe put it out there to the other person, but you're not like standing up for yourself. With this Knight of Swords, I kind of feel like inside of you, it's kind of like you're almost getting your voice. It's like, this is really what I want to do, and I want to really go do it. These are two kind of interesting energies because this one is just like, going to plow ahead, kind of stubborn about things. And this person's just so nurturing. And I have a feeling that you're both of these energies. Like inside of you, you really want to go do this. But here, you're kind of like, this kind of stands for the Emperor. So it's kind of like, okay, we're a couple. I'm going to stay with you. We're going to do this together. But somehow inside you have this discontent. You're like, no, I want to go do this. And it's not like you want to leave this person behind. I actually think you're trying in your mind to figure out, how can I talk this person into it? And it doesn't matter about genders, but if you're kind of like the divine feminine And since, we have the Emperor card here and the Empress, this is like a power couple. So, I do think that you feel like you're soulmates, but you just have this new kind of vision of what you want to do. You want to rewrite, maybe even rewrite, hey, we had these plans. This was our timeline for our relationship. You might have just been dating and you were ready to get engaged, or you're ready to get married, or to move in, or whatever it is that you're looking for in your relationship. You're ready to go to another level. And this person is like not ready to pick up the pen and start writing that in the book, right? And you're like, yes, I want to write it. Let's get to the next chapter. Some very interesting energy. I definitely see, even though you have this boredom, if you look at this, this kind of reminds me of the Six of Swords card, ready to move on. Three of Wands kind of energy too, ready to move on. Let's go. I see the sun in the horizon. Let's go. But you're not pushing. You don't want to rock the boat. Oh, that's kind of interesting because I kind of feel like boat energy there, right? It's kind of like you don't want to rock the boat for some reason. But you really have a yearning inside of you to do something new. Move, take your relationship to the next level. You may even, with the Empress card, you might have a new idea for a creative project or a new job or something. The Empress also talks about birthing a new idea, right? And I think you do. You have this like idea and you're like, oh, come on. I think you're trying to talk him. And once again, it's not about gender, but, like you're trying to talk that energy into joining you. Very interesting. Okay, so in your obstacle position, you have milestone, Empress and Emperor. So you have the Empress and the Emperor twice. This is definitely a significant connection. It could be, you could feel like it's a spiritual connection, but it's definitely a soulmate connection. And since this is in your obstacle position, I really feel like you see the other person as your emperor or as your person, that you think you're a great couple. But with the milestone here, you feel like you're not moving along the way that you thought you should. So it could be like, maybe I just got this. Maybe you just graduated from college or something like that. And this is somebody you've been with for a while and you're kind of like, okay, well, I thought we would both move to the same city, or we'd both get the same kind of job, or, we'd move in together or get engaged. Or this could be too, it's a new year. You're like, hey, let's take it to the next level. Sometimes this also happens, when you turn a certain birthday, like you go into a new decade and you're like, oh, I thought when I hit this age or I hit this decade, I would have certain milestones occur in that time frame. And I think that you're kind of looking at this as, we're not moving along as fast as I thought. And, once again, you're suffering in silence, but it's like you're in the boat. You want him to get in the boat with you. You want to move towards the sun. You're like, let's do this. And yet at the same time, I feel like you're afraid to really speak your truth. This is what's going on in your head. This is Swords energy, right? This is going on in your head, but you're kind of putting up this lovely, Empress facade. I just got the word facade, right? A mask. You're kind of putting up a mask. I'm going to be okay with this. It's almost like she has her eyes closed and she's like, I'm going to be okay with this. I'm going to be okay with this. But inside, you're kind of like, oh, I really want to, and fill in the blank. Whatever it is that you suddenly feel like you want to go do, or where you want this relationship to go. It could be too that you see each other as, the power couple, And maybe your emperor isn't quite sure yet, right? And you're like, hey, I know. Like, I know you're the one. I just need you, to figure it out too. It could be something like that. Very interesting. I really do feel, though, you got the emperor and the empress twice. That's so unusual. So I do think that you definitely are soulmates. And I think with your spiritual awakening, you may know that. Okay, so in your advice position, you have the advice of insight. See beyond appearances, masks, cliches, and cultural stereotypes to gain insight. I gotta come back to this, right? The person, your emperor could be, somebody that maybe doesn't fit, the stereotype that your family or your religion thought that you should be with. It could also be, maybe you've been putting on a facade of what it is that you've wanted in the relationship. And you may have actually had some new insight about what it is that you want out of love. And you're still putting on this facade of being the empress, but inside you're kind of like maybe changing your mind. That may resonate with some of you. Okay, well, you have the Two of Pentacles here and then the Hierophant. All right, the Hierophant is also kind of like, your belief systems, but it can also represent marriage. And here you have the Two of Pentacles. And I kind of get this idea once again that you're kind of like, is he the one? Isn't he the one? You could be toying back and forth, or your person could be toying back and forth. Like, do I really want to marry this person? And I think since this is in your advice situation, I think, Spirit is trying to say to you, you have to look beyond whatever belief systems you had before you had this spiritual awakening. You have some new insight, some new wisdom. You see the bigger picture about relationships now, and your person may not. And I'm not saying that that's a reason not to be with that person, but I think that, this is the advice. It's kind of like you have to make up your mind. Do you want to marry this person or not? Like a decision needs to be made. If it's not marriage, it doesn't have to be marriage, but to me, it's kind of like just taking your relationship to the next level. Like, this is kind of long term too. This isn't like, oh, we'll live together for 6 months and see how it goes. This is really kind of like, okay, I'm making the decision. Is this the person I want to be with for the rest of my life? And I think Spirit is saying it's time to kind of like decide, is your person going to join you on, it's time for you not to be silent anymore. It's time for you to get in the boat and be with the one that you really want to be with. And, don't worry about, what so much about, like what your family thinks, your religious beliefs are. I think with your spiritual awakening, once again, I think you've had insight that that some of the belief systems that you grew up with, they just weren't really balanced. And you have a more balanced approach to love now. Let's put it that way. You have a more balanced approach to love. And that's what you're looking for. Very interesting, really interesting. Okay, so let's see what the outcome is if you do kind of follow this advice. So you have the 5th chakra, which is the throat chakra. Okay, so this is really talking about gaining your voice and not suffering in silence anymore, really speaking up, like knowing, going back to that Knight of Swords, right? Knowing what it is that you want and talking about it. And it doesn't mean, once again, because you do have the Emperor and Empress here, it does not mean that you have to break up. But I think what they're saying is that you have to make sure that you talk about this, that you speak up about your beliefs, about where you want this relationship to go because you have the milestone card, or about your beliefs of the roles within a love relationship, or how a love relationship, just how you want it to play out in your life, your relationship together, what it is that you're looking for. But you definitely, by speaking out, like starting, getting into this Knight of Swords and starting to use your voice, talk about what it is. And that's going to bring some healing to your throat chakra. You may be concerned that, when you have this conversation, this person may say, okay, well, that's not what I want. But I think, at the same time, it's kind of like you need to kind of know that. Like, you can't just like go into, writing the next chapter of your life without kind of having a plan of what you're going to write. That's kind of like getting a plan, right? So let's see what else we have here. High Priestess. Oh my goodness. And the Star. Okay, so this is definitely a spiritual thing, especially for you. It may not be for your Emperor. And, I kind of say that only because of the way that person is standing there. And once again, this may not be the person, that you're thinking of, that you're, romantically involved with. This could be, your family or, religion, society, whatever, especially since we have, the insight looking up beyond, cultural stereotypes and that type of thing. You may definitely, be up against that. All of this may not really be about your other person. It really may be about, stepping up and speaking your mind with those that are not happy about your relationship. But with the High Priestess, that means you need to go into your intuition, listening to your intuition, and it's going to heal. And, I think it's not going to just heal you. I think, you definitely need some healing with your throat chakra, speaking your mind, speaking your peace. But I also think, it is kind of funny because the Star card, she looks a little pregnant here, right? And, we have the Empress card. It definitely could be that, you're thinking about children, about how children are going to play a role in your future. If you already have children, having more children, you may, I just get the vibe that there might be something about children here. But you definitely have a lot of healing here. When you go ahead and you make this decision, right? Make this decision and then move in that direction. Speak your mind. Speak your mind, definitely. Okay, I'm going to pull a Love Oracle card here. Let's see what we have there. Advice from Spirit. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Manifesting miracles. Your dream is soon to become reality. Trust your heart and continue to follow its guidance. And I definitely get that, especially, you have a lot of spiritual cards. I think you are definitely someone that is connected, to your intuition, to your heart. I think that your spiritual awakening allowed you to, get out of the ego and be more heart-based. And I think that, the conflict that you have here is you're still dealing with either someone or someone's or a belief system that's more based on the ego about all of that. Okay, let's do some romance cards. See what else we can get. That one wants to fall. Okay, let's see. Passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. And I think that that's coming through, especially, the Empress card does talk about, really allowing yourself, your heart, your passions within you to sing with joy, but also your passion, in the romance life. Very nice. And give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership. So, to me, I think that especially if you're resonating with the fact that, this Emperor, the conflict is with the person that you're dealing with, right? Is not to run away from it. And if you notice, she's not in the boat, right? It looks a lot like the Six of Swords card, but she's on the shore. She's like on a rock. She's not really going anywhere, right? She's wanting to go somewhere, but she's being patient. But I do think it's definitely saying you need to speak your mind. You need to talk about this. Don't suffer in silence. Talk about this. Well, these are lovely. These are lovely. I'm going to pull one more. Let's see if we can get one more of those. Flirt. Extend your lighthearted energy to others. Okay, and I think that speaks about not necessarily going out and flirting with everybody like in a romantic way, but really it's just about like don't get too stuck and concerned about the situation. Like still put out your love to everybody. Flirt, with life itself and kind of keep it light so that you don't get, too stuck in this, kind of you're discontented and bored energy, because that'll just bring more of that. If you raise your vibration, then you'll also have great, things coming in, whether, you do decide to move on from this relationship and look for new love, or if you just want to kind of get this relationship on the path that you're looking for, right? Your milestone card, right? Like just to stay light about it, not to get too heavy. Because I think if you get too heavy, this person, is pretty stuck in their ways. And so I think, to keep it light will help to soften this person a little bit. I got that message. Okay. And one flew out. We'll take one more too. Forgiveness and trust. So, with these cards, I really do think that you have to just be compassionate. I think that you have gotten a lot of wisdom because of your spiritual awakening. And if, Spirit's just saying, just trust in this relationship and forgive, like don't come out the total Knight of Swords, right? And, be combative, come from a level of compassion, of just understanding that they don't quite see things the way that you do, and just have conversations about it. Okay, let's do we'll do a couple of the romance cards. Romance Oracle. Perception. Red flags, delusion, perspective. See through your own false beliefs. And I do think that, there's belief. It does seem like there's a belief system for both of you. I think yours has changed and perhaps the other person's hasn't, right? And so it's just realizing that you're just not on the same page right now. It comes back to that storyteller, right? You're not on the same page right now. And you just need to have those conversations and see if you can, get things to work. Okay, I'm going to do one more last angel message. I do wish you all the luck with this situation. Once again, I think it's a good... Okay, let's see what your last one is. Dear guardian angel, help me dissolve past guilt or regret. Help me to see that all is always in perfect and divine order. Help me to let go the fear that I project on my future. Help me to live fully within each precious moment and feel your eternal love within and around me. Help me to realize and fulfill my true potential. Thank you. And, I think that kind of speaks to this, is that, to kind of like taking another look at your timeline in life that you kind of think life should follow. Taking another look at that and then just trying to see, is it realistic? Does it really, is there any flexibility in your timeline? Especially if this is a person that you definitely want to be with, there may need to be a little compromise there. And that's what they're kind of telling you. Help me to let go the fear that I project on my future and live fully within each precious moment. And that kind of speaks back to this trust and forgiveness. Like, give it a little bit of time, be compassionate, realize that you both have a different perception of the situation, and see if you can come up with a compromise. Well, I do wish you all the luck with this situation, and I hope that 2021 is filled with lots of light and love, hope and joy for you. Goodbye, Scorpio.